You're welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be preparing you for your FSB 101 exam. And how am I going to be doing that? I'll be using predicted questions, in between line questions, past questions to cover all the chapters with you so that you get to the exam hall and you smile and come out. So I will plead with you to stay to the end of this video, because if you follow everything I'm going to be doing in this video, as you get to the exam hall, the exam is a walkover for you. All right, so we are going to be starting right away, and I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'll be sharing the questions with you. So from there, I'll be using each of the questions to explain the topics for you. So please stay tuned and let's dive in. But before we dive in, please, if you're watching me for the first time, my name is Excellence Simplified. Do well to click on the subscribe button, like this video, and let's move on. All right, so I'll be sharing my screen now. All right, hope you can see my screen. Now, the first question here says the reverse of dehydration reaction is called dash. The reverse of dehydration reaction is called dash. Now, you agree with me that dehydration, anytime you see the prefix D-E-D, it means remover. Now, dehydration means remover of water. Now, the reverse, that's the opposite of removing water, is what? Yes, correct. Adding water, right? So, dehydration, the opposite, the reverse is hydration, addition of water. But if you look at the option, A says polymerization, wrong. B says condensation, wrong. C says decarboxylation, wrong. D says hydrolysis. Hydrolysis. All right, so the best answer here is hydrolysis. Hydrolysis. Now, in hydrolysis, you are using water to break a bond. Dehydration, you are removing water. Hydrolysis, you are using water to break a bond. So water is involved. All right, so the correct answer there is D, hydrolysis. All right, moving on to the next question there. Question 2. The following are examples of disaccharides, except, now you agree with me that disaccharides are made up of 2 sugar units, right? Di means what? 2. So disaccharide means 2 sugar units. So the following are examples of disaccharides except A, glucose, B, maltose, C, galactose, D, lactose. All right. At this point, you agree with me that sucrose is a disaccharide. Sucrose is a disaccharide and it is made up of glucose and fructose. Maltose is also a disaccharide and it is made up of glucose plus glucose. Galactose here is a monosaccharide. Lactose here is a disaccharide made up of glucose and galactose. So the answer to this question is galactose. Because the question says the following are examples of disaccharides except what? Galactose. All right. Moving on to question 3. The breakdown of glucose in the cytoplasm of the cell is called dash. The breakdown of glucose in the cytoplasm is called dash. Now let me give you a cheat. Anytime you hear breakdown, lysis should be there. L-Y-S-I-S, lysis, lysis. So breakdown means lysis. Now what are we breaking down here? Glucose, right? But the correct answer is not glucolysis. The answer here is glycolysis. So glycolysis is the process of the breakdown of glucose in the cytoplasm. So the answer here is C, glycolysis. Glycolysis is the answer here. All right. Moving on, you'll be asking, why is it not glucolysis and glycolysis? Now, by the time they named this word, they started using this word, they were calling it glycose. Glycose, that's the reason. So breakdown of glycose, breakdown of glucose. So glycolysis. Number 4, dash are the building blocks of proteins. Dash are the building blocks of proteins. Now, the building blocks of proteins, A says peptides, B, amino acids, C, nucleic acid, D, glycosidic bond. The answer here is amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. So if you lay one amino acid to another amino acid to another amino acid, what you have is protein. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. The next question here, question 5, says there are dash amino acids involved in the construction of protein. Now we have over 300 amino acids, but out of the over 300 amino acids we have in nature, only 20 of them are involved in construction of protein. Only 20 of them. Only 20 of them. So the correct answer here is A, 20. So there are 20 amino acids involved in the construction of protein. Hope you're understanding. Be honest with yourself. Hope you're following. Because I'm preparing for your exam. If you're not following, let me know in the comment section. But if you are following, please click on the subscribe button and subscribe to this channel. Alright, let's move on. Question number 6. Amino acids that cannot be synthesized by the human body are dash. Now, there are some amino acids. We've seen that amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, right? Good. Now, there are some amino acids. We've also seen that we have 20 amino acids that make up protein. Is it not? Yes. There are some amino acids that can be synthesized in the body. At the same time, there are some amino acids that cannot be synthesized in the body. Now, those amino acids that cannot be synthesized in the body are required in our food. We need to get them from our food because we cannot make it in our body. So, those amino acids that cannot be synthesized in our body, it is essential, it is necessary, it is important that we get them in our food. It is necessary, it is important, it is essential that we get them in our food. But those ones that we can synthesize in our body, it is not essential, it is not necessary that we get them in our food. Now back to the question. Amino acids that cannot be synthesized by the human body are dash. A, non-essential amino acids. B, essential amino acids. C, micro amino acids. D, macro amino acids. So what's the answer? What's the answer? So you see that those ones that cannot be synthesized in our body are called essential amino acids because it is essential that we get it in our diet. When they say something is essential, it is necessary. So it is necessary that we get them in our diet because we cannot synthesize it in our body. All right. Next one. Number 7. Dash are the major components of the dry weight of cells. Dash are the major components of the dry weight of cells. One thing you should notice is that the body mass itself is majorly protein. The dry mass of cell, the dry weight of cell is majorly protein. So the answer to number 7 there is proteins. So proteins are the major components of the dry weight of cells. All right. Hope you are following. Okay, so number 8 now. The name proteins was first suggested by Dash. Now the name protein was first suggested by Berzelius. Where is it? Option C. Berzelius was the first person to suggest that name, protein. So this is what we are using today, protein, protein, protein. The first person that say, oh yeah, let's use protein. That the name of that guy was Berzelius. Berzelius. Alright, moving on to number 9. Hope you are still with me. If you're getting something, please click on the subscribe button, like this video. It is not MTN subscription, no. They are not charging you kobo or anything. So please subscribe. Alright, that's the only way you encourage me because with everything we are going to do till the end, you will blast A in this course. Trust me, you will blast A in this course. You get to the exam and it will be like water. Alright, so moving on to number 9. Dash are the most abundant intracellular molecules. Which one is the most abundant intracellular molecules? Just like I told you earlier on, that our body mass is made up of protein. Our body mass is protein. So the most abundant intracellular macromolecule is proteins. So the option there is option B, proteins. Are we there? Number 10 now. The following, please be following the question as I'm reading. The following are examples of globular proteins, except now based on shape and solubility. proteins can be classified into fibrous proteins and globular proteins. Fibrous proteins are those ones that are not soluble, cannot dissolve in water. While globular proteins are those ones that are soluble, they can dissolve in water. You understand? So now, which of them is a? They said the following are examples of globular proteins, except. So the question is saying which one is not a globular protein? A. Keratin, B. Albumin, C. Globulin, D. Insulin. The answer there is keratin. The answer to that question is keratin. Keratin is not soluble in water. So keratin is a fibrous protein and not a globular protein. All right. Moving on to the second round, number 11. Number 11, the term nucleic acid was introduced by Dash. The term nucleic acid was introduced by Dash. So who introduced the term nucleic acid? The term nucleic acid. Now, there was this guy that brought about this term nucleic acid. His name is Richard Altman. Richard Altman. Please, Watson and Crick, what Watson and Crick did was the structure of DNA. But Richard Altman, option B there, was the person that brought about that term, introduced this term nucleic acid. Good. Now, the monomeric, number 12 now, the monomeric units of nucleic acids are dash. When they say monomeric units, they are talking about the building block. Do you understand? They are talking about the building blocks. So the question is asking, the building blocks or the monomeric units of nucleic acids are dash. A says nucleosides, B says nucleotides, A says nucleosides, B says phosphatides, C says nucleotides, D fatty acids and glycerol. Now the answer to this question, the monomeric unit of nucleic acid is called nucleotides. Nucleotides, the one with T, option C. Now, nucleotides are the building blocks of nucleic acid. Don't confuse it with the nucleoside. Now let me explain. Nucleotides are made up of two things. Nucleotides are made up of three things. Nucleotides are made up of three things. Now look at this. Now, nucleotides are made up of three things. We said the building block of nucleic acid is nucleotides. Now, the building block of nucleic acid is nucleotides. The one that end with that have T. Now, these nucleotides are composed of three things. And the three things in nucleotides are, number one, nitrogenous base. Number two, pentose sugar. And number three, phosphate group. Now, when you add these three things together, what do you have? A nucleotide. So, nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, phosphate group give us our what? Our nucleotide. Now, if you keep the phosphate group aside, meaning if you have only nitrogenous base and pentose sugar, what you now have is called a nucleoside. So, you see, the difference between a nucleotide and a nucleoside is nucleotide have phosphate group, right? While nucleoside does not have phosphate group. Now, nucleotides have nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, and what? Phosphate group. If you keep the phosphate group aside, what you now have is a what? Nucleoside. That's why some of you used to use this slang. You are the phosphate in my nucleotide. Without you, I'm just a nucleoside. You see? I've given you one line now. You are the phosphate in my nucleotide. Without you, I'm just a nucleoside. Alright, so basically, this is nucleotides, the building block of what? Of nucleic acids. So that's that. So the answer to that question is nucleotides. Number 13. Number 13. That is the process whereby a lipid mass is converted into small lipid droplets. Small lipid droplets. Now that the process where big mass of lipid is converted into droplets, small droplets. Like if you have something like this, a big mass of lipid like this, and it's now converted into small mass. That process whereby this big lipid is converted into smaller ones, small droplets, is called emulsification. It's called what? Emulsification. It's called emulsification. So emulsification, we are actually converting big droplet of lipids into smaller forms. That's that. Please, if you are learning something and you've not subscribed, you're not doing well now. Click on that subscribe button, please. Click on the subscribe button. All right. Now, next question, number 14. Which of the following makes up to 70% of the dry weight of the nervous system? Which of the following makes up to 70% of the dry weight of the nervous system? Now, here what we are talking about is the nervous system, right? The nervous system. Now, the nervous system have 70% lipids. So lipids make up 70% of the dry weight of the nervous system. All right, that being said, the next question is number 15. The protein in the epidermis that thickens and protects the skin is called dash. The protein in the epidermis that thickens and protects the skin is called dash. Now you agree with me that the skin have two layers. The outer part is called the epidermis and the inner part is called the dermis. Now there is a protein on this skin. Have you ever shaken some persons and the hand is very strong, and you shake some persons, it's watery, and you want to remain with the person? Now, what is making that hand strong or soft is called keratin. It's called keratin. Now, the protein in the epidermis that thickens and protects the skin is called keratin. The answer is C. It's called keratin. The answer is C. So anytime you shake somebody and the hand is very strong, just know that the keratin is just too much. And if somebody's hand is very soft, know that the keratin is small. All right. So basically, this is the first round. We are going to continue from number 16. I have about 300 questions for you. And getting to the exam hall, you will smile and come out if you can watch to the end. So this is part 1. Number 16 to 30 continues in the next one. So go and watch 16 to 30 now. Go and watch 16 to 30 now. But if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. All right.